There's something that you never had. Spitting on it rag. The price is right up on the tag. I'll put it in a brand new bag. This thing will let you be yourself and wanna pay nobody else.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our 50th anniversary of Soul Train's first season. I am your host, Mother Diva, the Madam Ambassador of house and electronic dance music. And as you can see, I am wearing my house necklace, my little stone house necklace. And because we're going to be talking about the 70s, I have my Afro puffs in, So now I am so excited about this show. I have some wonderful guests that have come on to discuss 50 years of Soul Train. So just to give you guys a little bit of history, because Soul Train started in Chicago. The origins of Soul Train can be traced back to 1965 when WCIU, an upstart of UHF station in Chicago, began airing two youth-oriented dance programs, Kitty A Go-Go and Red Hot Blues. These programs, specifically the latter, which featured a predominantly African-American groups in the studio dancers, which set the stage for what was to come to the station several years later. Don Cornelius, a news reader and backup disc jockey at Chicago radio station WBON, was hired by WCIU in 1967 as a news and sports reporter. Cornelius also was promoting and emceeing a touring series of concerts featuring local talent, sometimes called record hops, a Chicago area high schools, calling his travel caravan of shows the Soul Train. Okay, so WCIU took notice of Cornelius' outside work and in 1970 allowed him the opportunity to bring his road show to television. After securing a sponsorship deal with the Chicago-based retailer Sears and Roebuck, Soul Train premiered on WCIU television on August 17th, 1970 as a live show airing weekday afternoons. Beginning as a low-budget affair in black and white, the first episode of the program featured Jerry Butler, the Shy-Lights, and the Emotions as guests. Cornelius was assisted by Clinton Gint, who local professional dancer who appeared on earlier episodes before moving behind the scenes as a producer and secondary host. And here to give us more information and the history of Soul Train is the show's director, Mr. Drew Leach. I am so excited to have him come on the show. Hi, Drew.
Hello.
I hope that was a good introduction.
I'm sorry, what was it?
I said, I hope that was a good introduction.
Oh, yes. Yes, it was.
Now, Drew, I'm going to be doing some work and stuff back here. So if you don't see me, just keep on talking because I may move myself out of the feed. So tell us how you got started in producing television and how you ended up directing Soul Train.
Well, I had been at the station already almost 4 years, and the engineers basically claimed me as being the top director at the station. Most of our programs were live, and I had, on an average week, we're doing about 14 hours of live programming. The way Soul Train came about was we had a previous show that was a kid show called Kitty A Go-Go, Monday through Fridays. Well, unfortunately, one of the hosts of the show, she became ill, and the show went off the air. But basically, there was an open time in that period. And when I happened, just probably about a month or two before anything ever happened. And I got called down to the production manager's office on a Friday afternoon and said, we want you to DJ this new, DJ, to direct this new show.
That's right, you're a DJ now.
Yeah. And it was going to premiere on Monday, August 17th. And I had just gotten what they call, when Kitty A Go goes 5 days a week, it was called what you call a strip show.
Mhm.
So in TV language, when of any show that's 5 days a week becomes a strip show. Anyhow, he says to me that we want you to do this show, and I said, okay, what all about it? And he goes, well, it's going to be called Soul Train. They had a set built by some theater group, and they had a sign that was on the west side of the studio that was going to be used. It was a black outline with gold glitter,
Wow.
and those were the set props. So,
I got one of the little props of the pictures I found on Soul Train from WCIU. If you can see it, I got the little prop of the train. That was the original, the first one they ever used.
Yes. Yeah. In fact, it was kind of bulky for this little studio. I mean, it was kind of hard to try to hide it.
You guys were on the first floor of the Board of Trade building, right?
I'm sorry. It was what?
You were on the 41st floor of the Board of Trade building.
Yes, the 42nd.
42nd, okay.
Yeah, and then when you turned it around, it was the back of a train. Okay. It was like something out of the presidential train when you see out of them.
Okay.
Oh dear. Anyhow, Kirby O'Connor was a production manager, and he says, so I said, okay, there's no problem. So I asked for a script and or a format for the show, and he said, well, you don't have one. We're going to have to come up with it over the weekend.
Wow.
So that's what I did. And if you want to know,
Yes, I want to see
this
it.
is the original. This is the original script.
Wow.
The 3 pages long.
Put it closer so we can see.
It's all trained. What it is the file copy, because we mimeographed it, and we put 3 copies in the actual book for the director's book. And then on the lines, we'd fill in the song titles.
Drew, put it closer to the camera so we can see it. Put it closer.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, there.
Okay, yeah, leave it. Bring it down. Push it back to the camera. Push it back to the camera. Okay, bring it down just a little bit. Lower it. No, you're going up. Down. Yeah.
Okay.
Right there. Leave it right there.
Okay.
Okay, you can keep talking. Just hold it there.
Okay.
This is the original script from 1970. Soul Train.
It's 3 pages long.
Okay.
Okay. And then on the very last page, I don't know if you can, is written on here about the super, but right at the close. Oops, I have to get this. It says, as always, we wish you peace. We wish you soul. As always in parting, we wish you love. We wish you peace, and we wish you soul. Those were the actual closing lines. And then later on, he changed it when he went into syndication, just love, peace, and soul.
Right. You need to move yourself back a little bit because we can only see half your face. There you go. Okay, there you go.
So anyway, this is what I came up with. And on Monday, on the day the show premiered, I went over this script with Don at 4 o'clock, and we went on the air live at 4:30. Well, all the songs that we had, or he chose, we wrote out and slammed it up on the wall in the studio so he knew what the song lists were coming up. These scripts were given to the audio engineer as well as the director having him, so we knew what music was coming up as well. So,
Okay.
but that's how I became involved with Soul Train. And I
Well,
directed it for 6 months.
We're gonna get more into the depthness of some things that you're gonna share with us. And right now, I'm going to show a clip of an interview that I did yesterday with a colleague of mine, Mr. John Wilson from Sly, Slick, and the Wicked. So I want to go ahead and show that, and then we're going to be back again with you.
Okay.
All right. All right, you guys. I got a fantastic interview that I did with my guy, John Wilson. He is amazing, amazing, amazing. I love him to pieces. I really appreciate him coming on to share this wonderful information with us. And I want you guys to check this out. Okay, my next guest is an awesome singer and producer, and you might remember him from that hit singing group back in the 70s known as the Sly, the Slick, and the Wicked. And he appeared on Soul Train back in the 70s. I'm going to show you this clip. He looks totally different today, but he's still a cutie pie. So y'all check this clip out.
Let's welcome aboard the Soul Train for the very first time an exciting new group of entertainers. They are known as the Sly, the Slick, and the Wicked.
Think you love him, girl, you know you love him. So you think you love him. Left behind. Oh, memory. Ooh, yeah. I tried so hard to convey my love, but you only ignored.
That one was kind of Sly, Slick, and Wicked. Who was your writer and who produced it?
Well, we wrote the tune ourselves, and our producer was Mr. James Brown with Mr. Eddie Perel.
Mm-hmm. And where you fellas from?
Wow.
Yeah, why don't you introduce yourselves both by your real names and by your Sly, Slick, and Wicked names? What's your name?
Well, I'm John. I'm Sly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Charles Still. Mackenzie. I'm Slick.
I'm Terry Stills. I'm Wicked. I'm Scorpio.
Right on, Sly, Slick, and Wicked. How about it for him, gang? One more time. Sly, Slick, and Wicked.
Okay, now that song was a song called Show Nuff by the Sly, the Slick, and the Wicked. And what's interesting about that song, if you all really heard it, especially my young people that's watching, Justin Timberlake actually sampled a piece of Show Nuff for his song Suit and Tie. And J. Cole also sampled that track for his Chaining Day song. So I want you guys to check out these two clips of Justin Timberlake and J. Cole, and then we're going to bring our guest on.
I'll be on my suit and tie, shit, tie, shit, tie. I'll be on my suit and tie, shit, tie, shit. Can I show you a few things? A few shit, tie shit. Let me show you a few things. Let me show you a few things.
You ready?
Hey, cold world, for real. Look at me, pathetic. This chain that I bought, you mix greed, pain, and fame. This is heinous result. Let these words be the colors I'm just painting my heart. I'm knee deep in the game, and it ain't what I thought. Cop the Range Rover, my girl got the Mercedes. Iced out crazy, I wanna shine like baby. Compared to that, I ain't even got a bib yet. Truth be told, I ain't even bought a crib yet. This is everything they told it not to do. Image is everything I see, it got a lot to do with the way people perceive and what they believe. Money short, so this jewelry is like a weave meant to deceive. And here niggas say, I see you. Now wanna be you. And police wanna stop you, frisk you, wonder what he do. If a hater snatch a chain, I bet it still won't free you. Cause I be right back grinding till I cop another. I sit and think about all the shit I could've copped my mother. My partner say that's just the game. I swear I heard my jeweler say, here go your chain, my.
See, good music never dies, honey. All right, so I am excited to bring on a very special person who have been a great friend and confidant of mine since 2012. The Sly, the Slick and the Wicked, known as Sly, Mr. John Wilson. Thank you for coming on the show, John. I appreciate you being here.
Listen, it's really a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me. I'm loving it.
Can you believe that it's like been 50 years since Soul Train started in Chicago? Isn't that crazy?
Absolutely. And we celebrated Sly, Slick and Wicked. We celebrated our 50th anniversary this year too.
Sly, Slick and the Wicked? Absolutely. That is awesome.
Yeah, we're still together.
So tell me a little bit about your relationship with Don Cornelius and how did you guys, and because you actually ended up on the Soul Train that was in Los Angeles, correct?
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, we signed originally to Paramount Records in 1971, and they only had like 2 black groups. They had us and the Pointer Sisters.
Okay.
And so they were getting ready to just completely wipe out their whole record division and just stay to films. So the Pointer Sisters went their way, and we had a song, they had their song, we had our song on Paramount. And then when they left, we were looking for a label, and we didn't know that actually James Brown was looking at us, right? So
you said that on the show. Mm-hmm.
Right. But what happened was a little bit before that, we were on the road touring, and I had a breakup with a lady, and so we were in Louisville, Kentucky. And so I just grabbed the guitar and went, to my hotel room and just started writing. And if you listen to the song, it's about me and her breaking up, right?
Wow.
Right. Sure enough, you really love him, so. Oh. And so what happened was, Terry, who had put some lyrics in, he just passed away. And Charles and I started the group, we're still together. And so he put a couple of words in. And so we went to New York and met with James Brown's people. And the next thing we know, the song was out,
Wow.
Yeah. And so it went across the board, number 5 across the country. And the next thing we know, we were on tour, and our manager says, "Hey man, you got to go to Los Angeles." I said, "Well, what we got to go to Los Angeles for?" He said, "Don Cornelius wants you on Soul Train." So
wow, that's awesome.
I mean, we were like surprised and shocked, because we always looked at Soul Train, and hoping that one day that our work would be recognized and do enough to be on there. And here the time was. So we flew. I think we were in Minneapolis that night before, and us and the JBs, because the JBs were on the first part of the show, which they never really showed, and they were doing it to death because they were number 1, we were number 5, and so we got there.
The JBs is James Brown's group.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's his band. Okay.
Right, and so we came to Los Angeles, and that was the first time we'd ever been to LA. And next thing I know, I'm walking through the gates. And in fact, that time Soul Train was not done at A&M Studios. It was done at, I think, KTTB TV.
Wow.
Right, before it went over to A&M Records. And
Okay.
so then I walk out and wow, and there it is, all the Soul Train dancers, in the
So
fine.
when you guys were on Soul Train, did you lip sync or did you sing live? Because they have a habit of, because of the show and the way it was set up, a lot of the guests that came on, they lip sync. Now some did sing live. I remember Patti LaBelle did. So how was it set up for the Sly, Slick, and Wicked?
Well, we actually lip sync to our song.
Okay.
But yeah, we do know that some artists Don did let do that. But we again, at the time it was the biggest show in the whole wide world.
Yeah.
Right. And so I remember when we were in the dressing room, it hit Charles Slick. He said, "Hey man," he said, "we can't mess up any choreography. We can't do anything. We got to be on time." So when we got up there, you'll see. I think his name was Shabba Doo was standing right in front of me, getting ready to dance with the dancer, and he gave me the brother sign, like that. And so I was fine, and so we wouldn't pulled it off. And
Shabba Doo was one of the dancers who danced on Soul Train in Chicago as well as LA. He followed the show to LA.
Right. Yeah. I mean, because I remember Pat Davis, who most of the originals were still there at that time because we did it August in 1973. That's
wow. That is so awesome. Well, John, thank you so much for coming on. And I just wanted to educate my viewers because even though the Sly, the Slick, and the Wicked is one of those historical groups that have made timeless music, and I want people to understand and see that you have today's generation reaching out to you for samples. I mean, your music has been sampled over and over again by the top R&B artists and pop artists. So that must be really exciting for you that you're connecting with this generation.
Well, it's a wonderful feeling,
Yeah, honey, but you get a check.
Oh yeah, well the check is pretty good too.
Yeah, you want that Justin Timberlake money.
Well, we've been blessed. Like I said, me and Charles, we started out together. We've known each other since we were 15 years old, and here we are 50 years later, still working. And that's a blessing. And
well, one day you got to produce some house music. You see, I'm wearing my house to represent Chicago.
I ain't mad at you at all.
That's right.
Absolutely, I ain't mad at you at all.
I know that you're in the studio, and I thank you so much for coming on, and I really appreciate it. And one day we'll do a full show on Sly, the Slick, and the Wicked.
I look forward to it. I really do.
All right, thank you. Take care.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, that was Sly, Slick, and the Wicked. My boy John Wilson. I really enjoyed talking to him. I hope you guys were educated on that. I want to give a shout out to my cousin. Her name is Samantha Dantzler. She's out of Atlanta, Georgia, and she has a company called Three Sisters Juices and Teas, all natural, organic. She ships. Her teas have sea moss, herbs, vitamins, amazing, amazing, amazing tea. Very healthy, especially in the times that we're living in. We're living in this whole coronavirus, COVID crap and all this. So you want to keep your immune system strong. You want to keep it up. So I definitely want to give a shout out to her. Go to Three Sisters Juices and Teas on Facebook. Just type it in the search box on Facebook, like, subscribe, order some tea. And if you're in the Atlanta, Georgia area, she is mobile. She delivers. She also has vegetarian meals for all of you all because getting those fruits and veggies is very good for your body, detox, and everything. So now I'm going to bring on back my director. I'm going to bring her back in. Let me hide this out, honey. I'm back here. I'm back here directing myself, Drew. I'm the switcher and everybody. I see Linda Clifford is down there. She's going to be coming on shortly. Where did I get? Where's the Drew? Where did Drew? Okay, let me hide this. Okay, there you are, Drew. Okay, here we go. All right, now I can take.
There
Wait a
you
minute. I got to take this one out. Okay, this one got to go. Okay, there we go. Remove.
go.
Okay.
It's interesting because
So,
Sly was on that Soul Train the very first week, and he
oh,
sang
yeah,
a
he
group
was.
sang Lost Generation.
Yes, absolutely. So you directed the Soul Train episodes for the first 6 weeks, first 6 months.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you were with the station Channel 26 in the beginning of all of this.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I had been at 26 for quite a while already. I almost like I'm patting myself on the back, but I had all the top programs.
Oh,
There.
okay.
Okay.
You were the head
Um,
show at Channel 26 in 1970 before I was born. I was in the
well,
womb.
they were, how do I say, because most of the shows were live. We were very
Yeah, and I
few.
was talking to Adolfo about that because remember we talked in the pre-interview, for whatever reason, the shows were not taped. That's why we only have pictures.
Right.
They were
But
all live shows.
they were live shows. But on Tuesdays, we did record Soul Train.
Okay.
Okay. But that tape was used every week over and over again.
And we don't know where the tape is.
No, we don't know where the last one is. But they did, what they would do is play half of it, the show on Tuesday on Saturday, and then the other half on Sunday. And
Wow.
that's pretty much how the script was designed. So at the half hour point, you could cut out of it and then come back into it
Okay.
on the next day.
I know that you have some commercial scripts because Sears was one of the sponsors. And I know you said you had some commercial scripts. But before you show us that, I have a treat. I have two very special divas who are friends that have joined me tonight to talk about their experience on Soul Train. So, Drew, I'm going to have to pull you out. We're going to come back to you.
Okay.
And I got to get my girl in here. Here she comes, Miss Linda Clifford.
Hey.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. And wait a minute. I got to get my other girl in here. Here she comes.
Hey.
There she is. Oh my God, I'm gonna start crying. I got Linda Clifford and Freda Payne in the same show.
Hi, Linda. I wish I could see you. Hi, I wish I could see you.
You can only hear her? Okay.
I hear her, but I can only see you, Lady
Right.
Diva.
Well, I
okay.
can see both of you, and I hear both of you, which is great. But I only have a portion. I can see Freda like just below the nose.
Below the nose.
But you know, when we play it back, you guys will be able to see. You guys will be able to see it. So when we play it back, you'll be able to see it. So what's so interesting about the both of you all? Because it's almost like cross-referencing. Freda, you actually were flown into Chicago to appear on Soul Train in Chicago. Linda lives here in Chicago and was flown to LA to appear on Soul Train in Los Angeles. That is crazy.
Well, you remember I told you that when I did it in Chicago, they had not yet been scheduled to play in Los Angeles. They hadn't gone to Los Angeles yet. So I was in the beginning before they went to Los Angeles.
Yeah, you were doing this. You did the show a lot earlier than I think I did the show maybe in 1979, 80, somewhere around there.
Oh, Linda, listen, I did it way back. I remember that they had released my first single, and it was The Unhooked Generation. I believe that's the song that I did. And I remember what I had on, and I remember I wore a little short afro.
Wow.
You know what? It's so funny that you said that because I had just come back from Europe and I was wearing these thigh-high boots that I bought in Spain. Girl, you couldn't talk to me. I thought, oh my goodness, I am too tough for myself.
All right.
Yes,
Well, you
I
know,
remember
thigh-high
those
boots,
thigh-high boots.
even
Now I
thigh-high
want you
boots
ladies,
today are
keep
tough.
talking
They're
because I
nice.
gotta come. I want Linda and Freda, I want y'all to keep talking to each other because I gotta go back in the back and pull some clips. So y'all keep talking.
Okay,
Okay. Okay. Well, you know, Linda, it's so funny. Like when we talk, the last few times we've talked, we talk about our knees, our shoulders, and all that.
I know.
How
I
are you
know.
doing? How are you?
I'm doing great. Trying to get through this pandemic like everybody else and
I
just
know. I
try to
know.
stay healthy. I'm
Me
missing
too.
my fans and not working.
Yeah.
I
I
know you must
know.
be going crazy too.
Yeah. I do have a date though next month in November at a
Do you?
jazz. Yeah, the club called you should check it out. It's called the Keystone Corner. That's a club you could work too, by the way.
Really?
Yeah,
Where is it? Where is it?
Baltimore, Maryland.
Wow.
Baltimore, Maryland. I'll drop. Hey, listen, when I get there, or I'll drop a comment and say, "What about Linda
Okay.
Clifford? She sings jazz. She's not just all disco. She sings jazz too."
There you go. Thank you. Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. That'd be nice. The family, everybody's okay.
Everybody's okay. Everybody's fine. I'm
Good.
having trouble. I'm having increasing problems with pain in my shoulders as a result of arthritis.
I
But
was
I'm
going to
work.
ask you
Yeah,
about that.
yeah. I'm working on it because honey, I do not want to get surgery. I'm telling you right now.
Uh,
So,
Believe
Oh
me.
yes.
so I went to a Chinese. I'm going to a Chinese herbalist. I've gone back. I forgot about it. I used to do acupuncture a lot, and I haven't done it in a few years. So I'm going back to getting acupuncture and taking Chinese herbs. I'm
Oh,
just
good.
trying my best.
Listen, that's all we can do.
Uh
That's
huh.
all
Now,
we can
now,
do.
Freda, I got a surprise for you. I want to show you something. Linda, I will bring you out and I will bring you back in. But I want to show
Okay.
you. I got something I want to show Miss Freda because we were talking about you the other night uh, with your girl Stephanie, and we want to give a shout out to Quincy because one day he gonna propose to you.
Oh Lord, please, that's
Okay,
something that I had thought about decades ago, and it didn't happen. So I don't know if it's ever going to happen. So but it's nice.
uh-uh,
Hey, it's nice
it's
to
coming.
dream.
I want to show you. I want to show you this clip. I'm gonna show you this clip. We talked about you the other night. Did a whole. I was there a few years ago. I did a whole show on Freda Payne.
I
Because
love
she,
it.
yes, because Freda, she sung with Duke Ellington, and so to me, I was just like blown away by that. Because
Yes, yes, that's my girl.
and
Yes,
you
yes.
know, Freda shared something with me that I found to be very interesting. She said that she only worked, she to this day, she only works with musicians who can read sheet music. She's a stickler. She's a stickler. She's
Yes,
going around.
yes, yes. We have the same designer, Linda Stokes, design all of
Okay.
our gowns and our clothing for performances, and other clothes. But yeah, Payne is my girl. That's my that's
Yeah,
my
she's
that's my
wonderful.
road dog.
And Quincy, if you watch it, honey, you need to just go ahead and marry Freda Payne. Both of y'all need to just go on and get married and do the doggone thing. Quincy Jones and Freda Payne, he know he loved him some Freda Payne.
Yes, last performance I went to a play, and she brought him, and he was there. He loved him some Freda Payne, and
He
he still
does.
does.
And he there's a picture of them two on the internet, and he's just looking at her, smiling and smitten. And I told Freda, she said, "Well, why don't you tell Quincy that then?" I said, "Y'all need to go on and get married. Y'all worse than Diana and Barry." And so she said, "Well, you tell him that." I'm trying to play matchmaker. And we talked about how Quincy, how he's so smitten with you.
Oh wow. Yeah.
I'm trying to play matchmaker between you and them. Y'all need to go on and get married.
Well, I don't know. We're both senior citizens, so I guess we could keep each other company.
You might as well. Linda, we're gonna start a petition. Quincy Jones marry Freda Payne.
Oh my goodness.
Well,
Stop.
we have to make sure that's what Freda wants.
Oh my goodness.
Make sure
All
Freda
right.
wants that.
So you ladies are still doing it in the industry. You have a long, long history. And the fact that you all are still able to perform, even though with what has happened with COVID, have you all started doing online shows, or what has been your experience through all of this? Because a lot of us just got to be online. I mean, Erica Badu charging $1 to do concerts in her living room.
Oh my gosh. Well,
I
I
know.
heard
You want to go
that
first,
a lot of
Linda?
people are doing exactly that. They're doing shows from their homes,
Can she hear? Is
and
she still? Can
you
she
can
hear
pay a
us?
certain amount.
Yeah,
And
she went first.
Okay.
she what?
No, she wanted to know you wanted to go first. Yeah, go ahead, Linda.
Oh, you know what? I can't see or hear Freda
Yeah.
at all. Oh, okay. But I have been dealing with just trying to stay healthy in this climate, because the fact is, after you reach a certain age and you're out there working and with people all the time, I think you build up like a little bit of a resistance. I think that's part of
Right.
of life, and that's just in general. This thing that's out there right now might be a little bit more harsh and more difficult for us. So I've just been being really careful. I got myself a new puppy.
Okay.
My husband and I are madly in love with her, and we're just enjoying this time that we have
And
together.
Linda, I want to make sure you give a shout out to all the DJs and music producers and let them know if they steal your music, you're gonna kick their ass.
Okay, I didn't say that now. Did I say that? Yes, I did. I did. Listen, all those DJs out there, for real, I love the fact that y'all love my music and play it, and
But
people
don't be
groove to it.
stealing it.
Don't steal it now. Y'all can't be taking my
Cause she
music.
gonna go south side of Chicago on somebody.
I've heard too many mixes where I go, I don't remember saying it was okay for them to do that.
Right.
It's a lot of that happening out there. So,
That's
you
right.
know, and a lot of times people don't realize that when they do that, first of all, it's illegal.
It is.
And you
We
really
trying
have
to get a law passed to put them in jail.
I don't want to put nobody in jail, but
Well,
you
it's
do,
still, I mean, if I break in your house and steal your TV, I'm gonna go to jail. Okay.
yes, you will.
So if I steal your baseline, I should go to jail too.
Well, they have to realize that seriously, that this is, it's actually stealing. And
It
I
is
know
still.
a lot of people don't think of it that way, but music, I mean, that's our life and that's how we make our living. So
It
when
is.
you take a line from my song, or you take my voice and put it on something that you did, honey, that's not good. You can't do that. And you really have to
What's your take on it, honey? These DJs and music producers and all these people stealing y'all music, sampling your music, don't pay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you
Well,
can't
I
sample
think
like
it's
that
Yeah,
without.
Freda's
it's
giving her
another.
take on it. Go ahead,
Oh,
Freda.
okay.
Okay. Well, I think it's an abomination, because it's like they're stealing they're cheating us out of income.
Right.
We're the artists. I mean, they sample our stuff all the time, and we should get paid, at least get some kind of royalty, or something for using our music. And also the fact that a lot of times they just deal with what I call house music. That's what these
Yeah.
DJs do. It's mostly
Mhm.
house music, and it's
And
literally
Freda, the last time we talked, you said you was open to doing some house music, and I have a couple of DJs who want you to come and do some vocals for them.
well,
They'll
I don't
pay.
have any. Now, if they want me to do some vocals, then of course I want to get paid to do my vocals.
That's right.
They can use my vocals, and as they, play it or stream it, you get paid through other avenues such as Sound Exchange, and over in Europe it's PPL. So yeah.
So how have you been holding up with, COVID? Because I know California has different rules than Illinois, and they were giving out citations, for people not wearing masks. I mean, California, they're kind of strict. So do you have some gigs lined up, or have you been doing some online shows as well?
Okay, I have both. Uh,
Okay.
I've done, let's see, I haven't done an online show where I got paid. I did something on Facebook where I just did a live, just a live presentation. And that was just one time. And I had thought I was going to do it like once a week, because I know people who do it like once a week. They'll have like
Girl, you got to put up a cash. Listen, you got to put up a Cash App and a PayPal and Zelle and Venmo. Put all that stuff up there. People send you money.
yeah,
It's donations.
that's what people are doing now.
That's right.
That's because, like,
GoFundMe
Vivian
page.
Reed, I just paid $25 to see her concert online, and it was
Yes.
good. It was good. And then, Dionne Warwick just did one. And I think she wasn't charging much, she was, but it was nice. And well, what I have been doing also, I'm doing a project right now. You can go to um uh well, anyway, you can go to YouTube. Put in my name and put in Stand By Me,
Okay.
the Mankind Project. It's like you can go to the Mankind Project, but you can go on YouTube. And I did a video. I'm singing remember Benny King's song Stand By
Yes.
Me?
Stand by me and you
Yeah.
singing that.
I'm singing
Okay.
Stand By Me, which was recorded, by the way, right here in my house about a month ago. And it was recorded in my house, and everything is virtual. The soundtrack was done in Nashville.
Okay.
uh, my vocal and the filming was done here in my house with a crew. The background singers, there were like about maybe 10 or 12 of them. They were all transgender, and that was done in a separate facility in a theater.
Wow.
So they put that all together, and
That's amazing.
it's Stand By Me. It's on. You can get it online. Stand By Me, Freda Payne. Or
Now,
if not,
Linda, you were telling me a story about when you first appeared on Soul Train, your neighbors didn't know what you did for a living, and they come knocking on your door for autographs. You got to you got to share that story with us. That was hilarious.
You are just a runaway love.
Oh.
Hey, baby, where you going? No, wait a minute, you can't leave now. Again. Now, we've been through this before. And I'm tired. Sick and tired of the same old thing over and over.
Okay.
I told you that.
It was so funny.
No, Linda, her neighbors didn't, when she first got on Soul Train, her neighbors didn't know she was a singer. They saw her on Soul Train. It was a line of people outside her door trying to get autographs.
Oh wow! No, okay.
Well, what
So
happened was, they used to see
people knew I was a
limos
singer.
Wait,
pull
hold
up
on,
to the,
hold on, Freda. Linda's telling her story.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. They used to see limousines pull up to the house all the time, and me taking off in limos and being dropped off, and my husband was always in a tuxedo going somewhere and blah, blah, blah. So they were trying to figure out what we did for a living. So, we thought it was really funny. So we never told anybody. One day, of course, the episode of Soul Train airs, and I'm performing. Suddenly, my doorbell rings. I open the door, and every kid in the neighborhood is standing outside with a ripped out piece of paper and a pen, talking about, we just saw you on Soul Train. You were on Soul Train, screaming, jumping up and down. Can we have your autograph? Can we have your autograph? It was
Wow.
so funny.
Now let me ask you a question. When
Yeah.
you were on Soul Train, Linda, I just want to be clear. Did Don Cornelius try to give you that greasy KFC that he was feeding everybody else?
No, he did not. I missed that part.
He said you good.
I don't even remember what was in that dressing room. I know they had all kinds of stuff in there in the green room.
Did
But
you lip sync as well? Because very few artists like that sung live on Soul Train. Most of them just lip sync. Did you lip sync, Linda?
you know what? I never was very good at lip syncing. I always sang live on top of the music.
Okay.
But a lot of the studios, I think Freda will probably tell you the same thing. A lot of these TV studios and stuff were not set up for real live entertainment, so the sound was terrible, and that's why a lot of the acts that you saw, there was no choice. You had to do a lip sync.
Okay, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Freda, when you came to Chicago to sing on Soul Train, did you sing live or did you lip sync? Because that was in the early stages before he was syndicated.
Yeah, I know. That was probably 1970 or maybe
It was 50 years ago.
69 or might have been 69. But maybe it was 19. If they can go back into the archives.
Episode aired on August 17th, 1970.
Okay. Well, anyway, are you sure? August 17th?
Yes, because I have the director on, and he directed it.
Okay. Oh, he remembers the date I was there.
No, not the date you were there. The first episode of Soul Train launched August 17th, 1970.
Well, if it was 1970, then Band of Gold was out already.
Okay.
Band of Gold was out already, so I did Band of Gold.
It's Freda Payne.
There in Chicago on Soul Train. Yeah. So
did
that was
live or did you lip sync?
I probably lip synced, but I mean I could have when you lip sync you're really singing with your vocal. But I mean, I know what you mean. If you sing, I don't tell you the truth. That was so long ago, honey. I don't remember whether I sang it live. That was so long ago. I don't remember whether I sang it live or lip synced. With either way, I would have done it. Either way, I could have done it.
Well, I want to thank both of you ladies for coming on and celebrating 50 years of Soul Train. It was
Wait a minute. I forgot to tell you. Wanted to know if I had any gigs coming up. I do. Yes. I have a gig coming up in November next month. I'm going to be at a jazz club in Baltimore, Maryland. It's called the Keystone. It's called the Keystone Corner in Baltimore, Maryland. And I'm going to be working there November the 12th, 13th, and 14th. And I'm doing one show a night. And they're also streaming it. So you can get it. You can stream it. And they're charging like $10 for you to watch it streaming.
Okay, well, I just want to let everybody know. I will make sure both you and Freda and Linda, make sure you get you some colloidal silver and some Lugol iodine. You have your last and you have your mask, because all of that stuff kills the coronavirus.
All right. You already have the colloidal silver already.
Yes. Well, I need you to stay around because I'm planning you and Quincy's wedding.
Oh my God. Okay. Yeah. I think, well, you better tell him about it.
Gosh.
Well, we gonna get them down. We gonna take care of them because it's not bad. I mean,
Okay.
there's a picture. There's this beautiful picture on the internet of Quincy and Freda. I will probably have to pull it in. I got to pull a lot of stuff out to pull it in. But he just looking at her, just smiling like he is so in love. And
I
I'm
know.
like,
I've seen it.
you
I've
see
seen
that?
it. Yeah.
Freda, everybody talks about that picture of you and Quincy. Y'all look like y'all are so in love. And it just seems like you must really make him feel like a little schoolboy or something.
Well,
You know
you
how to
know
put it
what?
on.
We go, hey, we go back to the 1963, 64. We go way back, you know, when I sang, I sang with his big band when he had a big band back in the 60s.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Y'all go way back.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
honey,
how far back we go. He
yes,
never forgot it.
I know that's right. Girl, you know you got to put it on them. Sure, because he's from the south side of Chicago too.
I know.
We've been trying to get Quincy home to give him his day. Now no one's really traveling. Well, I'm glad you have an opportunity to go to Baltimore. I just want everybody to be safe. Now,
Right.
are you flying? Because
Yes,
you
I
want to
am.
get you one of those fly pads where they put the plastic over you so you don't be to everybody.
Well, you know what?
I'm very
I'm definitely going to be taking the mask, of course, and the plastic, the plastic vinyl cover. I'm going to definitely
gonna
be doing
have
that.
you ladies some special masks made. I'll have a Linda Clifford mask and a Freda Payne. You know, I do custom made masks, so I can put your pictures on your mask and you'll have that.
All right.
Freda, I will be in LA February 10th. It's my 50th birthday, and I want you to come. So I'm celebrating my
Okay.
birthday in Los Angeles. Ali
All
and
right.
they're gonna be there too.
Okay. All right.
Well, I thank you, ladies, for coming on, taking the time to go back down memory lane and talk about Soul Train and how important it was. Because a lot of people don't realize that one of the reasons Don Cornelius started Soul Train in Chicago was to get the kids off the street and into the studio dancing.
And
He
It was
that's what
saved
he did.
incredible.
he saved a
Incredible.
lot of lives.
Yes.
And a lot of
Yes.
those people now are very successful. They've gone on to do wonderful things in life. When these kids could have been in trouble, they could have went to jail, they could have been dead. Soul Train saved people's lives.
It
Yes,
did.
it
It
did.
really
People
did.
looked
Thank you
forward to
so much for
Saturday
having me
when Soul
Oh,
Train
on the
came
you're
show.
on.
so welcome. I love you guys. Let's stay in touch.
We will.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
Freda.
Bye-bye.
All right, so now we're going to bring our director back on. I am so excited to have Mr. Drew Leach, who directed the first 6 months of Soul Train. We're bringing you back in now, Drew. Okay, there we go.
Yeah,
I hope you enjoyed that interview with Freda and Linda. That was awesome, wasn't
that's
it?
fantastic, really, because I love both of them. I play their music all the time, DJing. Okay, but I know it. We're talking about Soul Train here, and you know what? I really tried to make Soul Train different from American Bandstand. When artists like this would perform live, well, they weren't really live. They were lip syncing most of the time because the studio wasn't very big. So what we did was on the west side of the studio was where the audience danced, and we would drop a riser so the artists could be up a little bit higher than the studio audience there, and they would dance while they were performing their songs. So, if you remember right, American Bandstand at that time, all the people used to go and sit in the stands that they had, like bleachers, and then the artists perform. But they're doing dance music, so why not have people dance around them? That was my idea. And they carried that on the way through to the syndication.
Wow. So, what made you end up leaving Soul Train? Because I know that there was some mitigating circumstances and it was different people in and out, and you only did like the first 6 months.
Well,
I be honest, honey, dish the dirt.
okay, I'm not really sure.
If people tried to sabotage you, I want to hear it all.
I'm not really sure because it was kind of a mutual agreement, supposedly, but the claim that they were saying was I couldn't get along with the engineers. But we were all the same age. The engineers at the studio were union. Production was not.
Okay.
That's a lot of it. That's what they were saying. But the other shows that I did, the producers all went to fight to get my job back. But I think a lot of it was the fact.
That's awesome. I'm glad somebody went and fought for you, Drew.
I really believe that I know from what I've been reading in the past that Don gave him $400 to start out this program. But really, I think what ended up really happening was it was a station program to begin with.
Okay.
Okay, station owned. And since I put the format together, and this is already 1971, and it went into syndication in 71. And since I put the format together and the script, I could probably have been legally entitled to something.
Yeah, because you wrote that.
I was only 22 years old, and
you're still 22 years old.
Yeah, thank you. I wish. But
well, I have a surprise for you. I found your audition reel, your video on YouTube. You were telling me that this was your audition reel tape that you directed, Don, on the Public Affairs show. There was a Public Affairs call-in show.
On one of my tapes.
Yes, and that was your audition. So I want to bring that in and show that. Check this out, you guys.
Some may feel that we don't need any leader at all. And if that's your feeling, we'd like to hear about that also. We're going to take our first call and find out just what the story is. Hello?
Yes.
Yes, do you have an opinion as to who our most effective and relevant black leader is?
Yes, Jesse Jackson.
Why do you feel Jesse Jackson is our most effective leader?
And that was the end of that. So let me get Drew back in the feed. He's coming back in now. Okay, Drew, so tell us about when was the last time you saw that? That was in the 60s, huh?
Yeah, it was. I was floor director on it, and what happened was they had it listed at 1970, but it has to be 68 after Martin Luther King was shot. And what they did was an open line to find out what people thought about who could be the new leader of the black community. And that's where this tape was actually on another recorded program over this interview. It's a tape delay, and we really had a very strange setup in doing a tape delay because it ran through one video machine, it went in off the machine down into a trash can, and then came back up on the other tape machine, so it gave us a 5-second delay. But that's how that came about, because it was something else that I had recorded. It might have been, I'm thinking the longest tape I had on there basically was from a Mary D. Jazz show that she had on the station that I directed. And I gave that tape to her when she was at WGN several years ago. Are you there?
I'm back here. I told you I'm back here working, trying to get more guests to come on here. So you gave, when did you see Mary D? Did you give it to her at that time?
Actually, it was a 25-year point when she was still working at GM, but I didn't.
5 years later, you gave her tape?
Yeah, 25 years later. I went to GN because she was there. I gave her that tape, but I didn't get to talk to her because she was in the meeting. So I just left the tape. Now, that piece that you got from the Fuzzy Memories TV, I did contact Mary because he was wondering to get that tape, which we never got. She had it someplace.
That tape was you directing Mary D.
Yeah, it's a whole hour show.
Okay.
And it had Judy Roberts Trio on it. Okay, remember that.
You had talked about earlier, because some people, maybe some new people have come in, you talked about the part of Soul Train where Don Cornelius, where they would say love, peace, and soul. And you were saying that a portion of that came from a different show, that concept about love and peace. I want you to iterate that for us as well.
Okay, Friday nights I had a show directed that was called Red Hot and Blues with Big Bill Hill. And it was all these little kids. I mean, all the way up to the age of 12. That's all you could do to be on it. And it was kind of neat show because every 15 minutes, they would have a group of kids, of maybe a group of 3 or 4, sometimes 2, that would do their own routines, and mostly to Jackson 5 or to James Brown.
Okay.
I mean, one guy on the show I thought was really cool. He only had one leg, and he came in on crutches, and he danced to James Brown, and then in the middle of the song, he threw the crutches down and danced on one leg. I mean, just like James Brown. It was really something. But anyway, that show, Bill always closed it out with love and peace.
Okay.
That's where love, peace, and soul came from.
Oh, okay. So you guys just added. So whose idea was it to add the soul? Was it Don Cornelius or
Right.
was okay? So he added soul to it.
Yeah, for Soul Train, it made it. And it's like the opening. The opening was actually a freight train that a camera laid.
Talk about that. Talk about the freight train, because that was so interesting to me.
The camera laid in the middle of the track, and the freight train came over the top of it. So all you saw was the undercarriages of the cars going by. And then the super came up with Soul Train and the screaming of it. And I'm not positive, but I really believe that Roy Wood from the newsman at WVON was actually the person that yelled the Soul Train to begin with. In fact, the closing theme.
You said he was going, Soul Train.
I just know it was Roy, because Roy was,
wow.
He did the news too. The closing music, we used a song called You're Today More, I Loved You More Today Than Yesterday. And it was done by Charles Erlin. It was something that Don pulled out, but he wouldn't tell us who did it. But years later, I found an album that had that song on it, and I still play it. But it was a fun show to do. I like Don. Don had a great voice. As a director standpoint, I just think he could have loosened up a little bit and had a little more fun with it. That's my own opinion. But
yeah, Don was, he was like just this stickler. He was just like, this is Don Cornelius.
Yeah, he needed to loosen up. I mean,
and what's so interesting too, Drew, as the show moved on, because next year we're going to be celebrating the 50th anniversary of the syndication, because he went to syndication in 1971. and moved to LA. And we're going to be celebrating that next year. October 2nd, 1971 is when it actually went, when it was syndicated and in Los Angeles. But what a lot of people don't know is that Clinton Guest, he was the host of the Chicago version of Soul Train from 1970 to 1976. There were 2 Soul Trains, and I didn't even know that.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, there were
I
2.
just thought when it went off a syndication.
Yeah, there was a Don Cornelius when he was in LA, and Clinton Guest. They did a Soul Train here in Chicago, and it would come on every day after school, and it was in syndication from 76 to 79. But I can't find any episodes of it. So it's like, I'm probably going to have to go down to channel 26 and ask them what they have. Because all we have are these, like this video. I'm going to show the video again, but we just have like the pictures because there's no tapes of anything. I was talking to Shabba Doo about that earlier. There are no tapes.
Yeah, well, you know, WSCIU was very in the infant stages, I might say, because it was only they were at that time one of 4 stations in the country that was still black and white.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, you know, it didn't go to color until after, I don't know, maybe a year or 2 years after I had left.
Mm-hmm.
But all that equipment that was up there was all from BBM and GN. It was all old equipment. Everything. I mean, this looked like a TV station out of the 40s.
Let me ask you a question, Drew, because when you were directing Soul Train, because I went to film and television school, I went to Columbia College. You went there too. You know, of course, you went before I did, but I went to Columbia College in Chicago, and then I moved to LA, and I studied film and TV directing in Los Angeles. And of course, you know, back then, was it film in 1970? Did they have videotape, or was it just strictly film? And what was your camera setup? Was it a 1 camera setup, 3 camera setup? How was Soul Train set up in terms of production to shoot?
Okay, only 2 cameras.
Okay, it was 2 cameras.
One had a zoom lens on it, and the other one had a turret lens. That's, you know, your 3 or 4 lenses on it.
Okay.
No special effects. Nothing. You had to create your own. And this is pretty bad. I had to have the floor director, sit there and take a piece of cardboard and on a turret lens, slide it halfway in at the same time, and then bring in a super of the other image that I wanted off the other camera.
What was the cardboard for? What did it do?
But he would put it in front of the lens and start sliding it in at an angle so I could bring in, say the singer was singing, I could make a double image.
Oh, okay. You are so old school.
Yeah, I'm really, you got that right.
You know what that reminds me of, Drew? When I was in film school, we took a blackboard and we poked holes in it.
Mm-hmm.
Because the thing of it is, when you're trying to shoot stars at night, like if you're trying to go, if you need a scene of stars up in the sky, you never know what you're gonna get because you don't know what Yahweh is doing. Right. So we took a black cardboard. This was back in the day in film school, like 89, 90, 91. That was my back in the day. Okay. So we took a black cardboard, we poked holes in it, and we stuck a light through it.
Yeah.
Because we were shooting a music video where the couple was sitting on top of a mountain looking up at the stars. And we just set them on this thing, you know, and took the black cardboard with the holes. I'm like, we're punching holes for hours. So when the light illuminated through it, it gave the illusion of stars.
Oh, yeah. No, not only that, we used to use a gobo. You make our own gobo, like a heart.
What's a gobo?
Cut a heart in a piece of cardboard.
Okay.
Okay, it's a global, what they call it, and you can shoot through it. So you can you can shoot through a heart shape.
Oh, that's how you did that?
Yeah, yeah, oh God, we could all kinds of things.
Oh,
I mean, I would come up with all kinds of crazy things to do.
because you didn't have
I'm
tape
terrible.
then. So did you shoot on? What did you shoot on film, or was it film?
No, live.
But what?
Everything.
Right.
Um,
You guys started taping. It was all live, but you did tape on Tuesdays. What kind of tape was that? What kind of, what source? Was it film?
no, it was 2-inch reel-to-reel tape.
2-inch reel-to-reel tape.
Video.
Okay.
Video. Um, it was, and then you couldn't even through their system, you couldn't dissolve from a tape. You had to just take, and sometimes it would flip. And I'll tell you some really funny stories if you want to know.
I want to know the funny stories, but before you do that, you have a commercial script. Do you have the
Yeah.
secret script?
Yeah. What it is,
Script.
on the premiere, that the day that it premiered.
1970. I talked to Jerry Butler's people today. Jerry had another event and he wanted to send his love to the show and say thank you to everyone who supported the show. And so I just wanted to let people know that, unfortunately, Jerry couldn't be on the show, but he was the first guest on Soul Train. So,
Okay.
yeah, but I did talk to his assistant today, and he said he wished us the best, and he's sorry he couldn't be here. But get that script because was it Sears?
Yes.
You
Sears.
have original Sears script?
Yeah.
Oh my God! Let me pull myself out so I can see this.
This was actually for the next day, because on the premiere date, all McCann Erickson people were in the studio, in the control room. Oops.
Okay, hold it up to the camera, but still keep talking, okay?
Okay, Jeff, you want?
Yeah, I can see it. We can see it. Just hold it up to the camera and continue to tell your story.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Come down a little bit so we can see the Soul Train part. Bring it down a little bit, Drew.
Okay, yeah, I'm right up against the computer. That's why.
Okay, no, but come down some. Okay, now move it over a little bit. Move it to the left.
My left?
Yes. Move it over a little bit more to the left, more to the left, more to the left, more to the left. Okay, right there, stop. Now you can talk. Go ahead and talk, Drew.
Okay, this commercial was done live. Everything was live in the show. The commercials, everything. We set up a side, kind of a stand that had the records albums on them. And then he did the voiceover on it as we shot the record albums.
Okay, you can put the script down now. That script is 50 years old.
Oh, yeah. It dated 8/18/70. So it's for the second show.
And
I have
that
another one too, same one, same Sears, but it's still the record department, but a little bit different in wording, that's all.
difference between this commercial script and the other one.
It's also on record stores, record albums. The only thing different is the bottom line on this one, where it says this week only at Sears Record Department. I mean, look at the record, 69 cents for a single.
69 cents for a record in 1970? That's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, but $2.88 for an album. But on this one, on the original one, it says for all the hit sounds, ride the Soul Train to Sears. So
Wow.
it's,
Oh, do you know how Don was able to get Sears to sponsor?
I think I'm not positive on this, okay, but prior to Soul Train, the half hour before it, at 4 o'clock, we had a program called Black's Preschool Fun.
Okay.
Black Preschool Fun. It was a program that was designed to answer to Sesame Street. Okay. So I'm not sure whether it's a station. It must be a station show. The sponsor of the kid show or the school show is Coca-Cola, which McCann Erickson handled. So I think what happened was when Soul Train came along, they had McCann Erickson. They were in the studio on the premiere day that I was doing it. And I mean, this studio's, the control room was not very big. So I had about 6 or 8 people in the control room while you're trying to do a live show the first time with all these people running around in there. And that's how I think basically what they did was they encouraged McCann Erickson, because McCann Erickson was handling Sears at that time. And instead of Coke being the sponsor, they went with Sears and Roebuck.
Oh, okay. And you said so McCarran Erickson was the advertising agency.
Yeah. Yeah, the funny part about.
So was Sears the only sponsor in the beginning? Did he get other sponsors?
No,
only
just Sears. Just
okay.
Sears.
And so and Sears sold all the records, so it was probably in their best interest if he was having these musical guests on his show. Then if their records was at Sears, people would go to Sears and buy the records because Sears was the advertiser.
Right. And then I think later on, which I don't have one, but I think they also went into appliances later on, but most of the time with the records. What's interesting about.
Let me ask you a question. In 1970, Sears was a record store?
Yeah, they had a record department.
Okay, they had a record department. Okay.
Yeah. The funny part, when I was telling you about this preschool show that was ahead of Soul Train, it was in the same studio. Okay, so where the kids all danced.
You guys taped at the Board of Trade on the 42nd floor?
Yeah.
Okay. And how did you all end up doing it there? Why not Channel 26? They didn't have a studio to tape in at the time?
Well, the studio where the psych was on the west end of the studio, of the building, okay? The kids show was on that west end. It had
26 or the Board of Trade?
And the Board of Trade.
Okay.
But it was they had 4 flats, like 2 different classrooms.
Oh, so Channel 26 was in the Board of Trade.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, oh my goodness, Drew! What? I didn't realize that.
Well, you did.
I didn't know Channel 26 was in the Board of Trade building.
Yeah.
Wow,
It was at the top of it. The studio was on the top.
I understand that my whole life, Channel 26 is at Madison and Halsted. Okay,
Yeah, no.
That's all I know. I didn't know that it used to be in the Board of Trade building.
Yeah.
Wow.
The 41st floor was basically our production department where we had our desk.
Board of Trade.
Yeah, and the Board of Trade.
I'm going to get a picture of the Board of Trade, so keep talking.
Well, the kid show was on the, while they were in the same studio, what ended up happening is they had 4 flats. They had 4 desks, and they had a teacher's desk. And then the teacher went from one area to the other when they were doing the show. Well, between that show, which is in the same studio as Soul Train, we had 1 minute to tear that down. We had a site that we pulled aside, slammed the flats back up against the wall, get rid of the desks, get the studio audience in for Soul Train. Well, obviously, you had to get the kids out through a back room door to get them out, and then get the Soul Train people in and Don in. And then we had 1 minute to go live from one live show to the other. So it was, but the studio was in the Board of Trade building. And we had one elevator that came up to the 42nd floor. That was it. And
I got it. There it is. There's the Board of Trade.
Yeah. 42nd floor. And the antenna was on top of the floor. The transmitter was sitting on the director's desk. It was to the left of the director's desk and closed off by a door. And then to my right was all the camera equipment. In those days, they had all these racks of tubes, and in front of me, or as far as the director is concerned, you had all the monitors up high on the wall, but they were pointed downward, and below them sat the technical director who did the switching. So it was quite and there's not a big place, and I mean, we didn't even have, I don't think, 8.5 ceiling height. So all the lights, when we had to light anything, we had to take the lights actually down and move them. We had a grid, but we had to, nothing was on scissors. You had to go and move the light fully yourself.
Wow. I've just put this picture in. There it is right there. So tell me the history of this little Soul Train, the first logo here. It looks like a train. What was that? Was that made out of cardboard?
No, it was a, I don't want to say fiberglass, but it was like it's a board that was pretty tough. It was on wheels, 4 wheels to make that turn around. It was some kind of material that was flexible, because the backside of it, on the train side, everything was wood. Everything was even a platform that was set.
When you all got ready to actually put the show into development, because the show had to be developed before you guys, decided to go on air. How did this build? I mean, who built this monstrosity?
Yeah, well, Don didn't really know how to put a TV show together.
Okay.
I mean, he came from radio, but had no knowledge of what it takes to put a program together. Mm-hmm. I mean, it wasn't just where you could go put some people on one side of the studio and have them dance, and you say that, so he really didn't have. Sometimes there were problems because we only had one turntable, and the other problem was some of the stuff was on cart.
You said you had one turntable.
We had one turntable only, and they had to take and do.
What do you mean turntable? What for a DJ?
Yeah, it was just one turntable, and that's where he would.
Oh, they had to play the records.
The records.
Oh, okay.
We didn't have computers then.
Wait a minute, Drew. You mean to tell me that this show was live on the air, and there was somebody in there playing a record of the music?
Yes.
What?
It's either on a record or we carted the record.
Like What kind of control room did you have? Didn't have a control room?
Yeah, there was you had the control room for the switching and all the cameras and everything.
Okay.
Then next to it was an audio area. It was closed off by a door on each side. And then after that, on the other side of the door, was an entrance to the studio, but also the telescene. And telescene was where all the film, the videotapes, and your slide projectors were.
Wow.
Okay. And that made up
guys were just raw and pure with practically nothing.
This is from another show, okay?
Okay.
That was my director's table.
What? Wait a minute. Let me take myself out of here. Hold on.
That's the director's table. This is from Tour in Acevedo. He had a Puerto Rican show on Mondays, but that was the director's table. This is from another show, the Polish show. That is the studio. That is the actual studio.
Okay, let me hide myself.
That's where the studio audience danced.
Wow. Hold it closer to the camera. Hold it closer. Hold it closer.
I'm sorry?
The one with all the people. Now, what show was that?
That was a Polish variety hour.
Okay. And that was in the Board of Trade too?
I'm sorry, was what?
That was also done in the Board of Trade on the 42nd floor?
Yeah, that studio.
Was that the same studio that Soul Train was in?
Yes.
Okay, so the people dance. That's obviously where they dance. Hold that back up to the camera. Let me see that.
Yeah, that's where everybody danced.
Okay, so push it closer to the camera.
That was the dancing area.
That is amazing. That is amazing.
It wasn't very big, but it was a lot of, I mean, it.
You just had that little tiny director's table. Can you show us that again? That's crazy.
Well, what some of the engineers would do though was to take the records and put them on a cart, like they did in radio, okay? But the problem was that sometimes, and I have nothing against unions, but if Don would change a record and he changed it last minute and the guys didn't have it queued up on the record, on the turntable, it was a problem because he played what was on the turntable.
Because you're live on the air.
Yeah, we're live on the air and he couldn't change it because Don just decided to change the song at the last minute and it couldn't be done. So he get a little upset about that, but I couldn't do anything about it because the engineers were union and that's like, I mean, as far as, it's really sad because I came from a TV studio here in South Bend that we did everything. We ran the cameras, we did the switching, we did the lighting, where at CIU, I couldn't touch a camera. I couldn't touch a microphone. I couldn't touch, if the guy keeled over at the switcher, I couldn't switch. I mean, they'd write you up. So, and I can see in major markets, that's the way it is. You know what I mean? And unionized. And even if you brought a slide projector, like some of these programs, the people, they were producers that really didn't have any TV background.
Listen, I'm going through the same thing. Like, I'm a one-woman show here. I'm the switcher, the director, the host, the producer, the makeup artist, wardrobe, and sometimes I can't move myself out of the way to talk to people back here. I'm texting, I'm looking at my phone, trying to wait for other guests. I'm doing it, and you can even see me doing it. Like right now, let's say, okay, so Shabba Doo can't get on for whatever reason. So I'm going to call him on the phone. So now I got to get a picture of him to put up on the screen because we can't, I can't get him on video. Let me see. Okay. Okay, let me get a picture of him. Okay. So you can keep talking while I'm doing this. Okay. So when Soul Train was over, what did you do after that?
It depended on what day it was. When Soul Train ended at 5:30, they would they have what they called the Studio B. It was nothing but a corner. Okay. Because during the day they used to broadcast the stock market report, and then they'd sign off at 3:00 in the afternoon, whenever the stock market closed. Then we came back on at 4, or depending what 3:30, depending on what the programming was we brought. Most of the producers on the station were paying for their own time. They would sell the commercials to their own neighborhoods, and then that's how they paid for the program. Like on at 6:00, they did things like Spanish news.
I need you to keep talking because I gotta go grab the phone. Talking.
It really, there's so many different programs that were. There's only 3 or 4 of us as directors. I had the most directing time, and Bill Hughes probably had the second most, and the other 2, maybe 1 couple hours. That was it during the week. But like Mondays from 7 to 10, I had a 3-hour Puerto Rican program. And at 10:00, they would have Blacks View the News, and it ran till 10:30, and then we'd sign off the station. The only time we were later would be on Fridays. We had the Black Spring School Fun, Soul Train, and they'd run a half-hour film of usually a paid programming thing. 6:00, once again, Spanish news. Then another programming videos, prepaid or whatever. And then from 7 to 10, they would have, it was a Spanish show. And then 10 to 10:30 on Friday would be the Blacks View the News. 10:30 to midnight would be Red Hot and Blues with Big Bill Hill. Saturdays, I'd go in early for 3:00 and record Zen Kwiatkowski's Polka Party. And then we would come on at 5:00 with, I don't know, just some paid programming or whatever they had. 6:00 would be the Polish variety hour. At 7:00, it would be the playback, that tape that we recorded in the afternoon for the Polka Party.
Wow.
And then between 6 and 7, we get the studio ready for Rock of Ages.
You were busy. You were just back there doing it. Well, my next and final last guest, he had trouble getting on the live screen, so he called the show, and he was one of the original Soul Train dancers who performed on Soul Train in Chicago. He danced on Soul Train in Chicago with his sister, and then also in LA. So we have Adolfo, Shabba Doo, Quinones on the phone. Hey, Shabba Doo.
Good. How are you?
I'm so glad you were able to call in.
Yeah, it was a difficult process, but I'm here nevertheless.
That's okay. 50 years of Soul Train. August of 1970. You were in the Cabrini Green projects, hanging out, doing your thing, and all of a sudden this show comes on. How did you get started in going down the Soul Train, being that gorgeous, hot, half black, half Puerto Rican boy you are?
Well, it was, if you know, in 1970, late 60s, going into the 70s, we were still embroiled in the war with Vietnam. It was still, we were still at the height of the civil rights movement. And so there's a lot of things going on. So me and my sister encountered the show on the UHF channel. We were like, what is this? And there was a number of other shows. I think there was a show called Red Hot Blues.
Yep. Red Hot Blues.
The channel. I think it was another show. I think Here Come the Judge, or something. They used to use the theme song from that. Take Me Markham. It was that. But in any case, we came out the Soul Train show. And it really struck a chord with us. Because we had been traveling all over Chicago, dancing all over Chicago. And we weren't really invited. We kind of just like stormed the place. But we were just kids. You know, I had to be all in 1970 and into the early part of 71. I was 15 going on 16 years old. And then shortly after that, we located us from Chicago to Los Angeles.
Well, Shabba Doo, I have the director who actually directed the episodes you were on, Drew Leach. Drew, say hi to one of your dancers.
Hello.
How are you?
You were on that first show?
He said, were you on the first show when it aired? And
I don't know if we were on the very first show. We were certainly in that first season, if you will.
Okay. Yeah, because Drew directed from August to February.
You know what I was surprised about going on Soul Train? How small it really was.
Yeah, it was at the border trade. We just got through talking about how small the studio was.
It was like the size of a living room. It seemed like.
Yes, it was.
But it looked larger on TV, but when you get there, you realize how small it was.
Yes. So what made you and your family decide to go from Chicago to LA? Was the purpose of it for you to follow Soul Train, or did your family just want to move west?
Well, there's a couple of things that I had heard. One is I was becoming more and more affiliated with gangs in Chicago, namely the Latin Kings and Disciples.
Yeah.
And then, and the gangs that were in and around the Cabrini Green Project and the North Side that encompassed the North Side. Then my mom became a Jehovah's Witness and wanted to start a new life, and she brought me and my two younger sisters to California.
So did you guys move around the same time Soul Train did in 71?
Yeah, I was like, Soul Train had just made the transition to Los Angeles. And at one point, Soul Train in Los Angeles and the Soul Train in Chicago were happening simultaneously.
That's what we were talking about. And a lot of people don't know that Clinton Guest hosted the Chicago version for 6 years.
Yeah. They were airing simultaneously before, I guess, Dyson Ilias decided to just go ahead and become, a West Coast resident.
Right.
So, yeah, it was a handful of those shows happening simultaneously. But the dancing in Chicago was much different, and even when it continued, which was a shame in some ways, is that
Right.
And I kind of was like a little disappointed by that because Chicago has such great dancers there.
Oh yeah, of course. Well, wait a minute, sweetie, we had you.
I mean, but, you know, we did, but we have different types of dancing too.
Right.
Like when we moved from Chicago to LA or Placentia, they didn't know what bopping was. They didn't know how to bop or step or any of that.
Wow. Yeah.
So we grew up with that kind of dancing and that type of understanding. So it was totally different.
Mm-hmm.
And in Chicago, we tend to dance with each other.
Okay.
So when I got to California, everybody dancing by themselves.
It was culture shock, huh?
Huh?
It was culture shock.
Yeah, for me it was, including the clothes. Like, because we lived in Chicago, you know, most people don't know how well people in Chicago can dress and dance. You know.
That's right. Even in the wintertime, honey, we pulling out the furs, the high heel boots. We still doing it in Chicago. When you gonna come home, Shabba Doo? When the last time you been home?
I was in Chicago years ago. I was visiting my brother who's living out in St. Joliet.
Well, you know what I'm gonna do for you? I want to do something special for you. Because Chicago they gave me my own holiday. April 16th is Madam Ambassador of House and Electronic Dance Music Day. So I'm going to talk to the city council and I want you to have your own day. You need to get a resolution.
Oh, wonderful. That's good.
Yeah, I'll definitely, do that for you because you're a pioneer in terms of, street dancing and popping and locking. And, coming from Chicago and then moving to LA and then breaking two and all your choreography and all of the wonderful entertainers you work with. And, I just feel like you need to be recognized in your own hometown. And I want to do that for you.
When they learned that I'm from Chicago. And I've said this on many interviews that I didn't learn how to dance when I got to LA. I already knew how to dance. I learned how to dance in Chicago.
That's right, because we be getting down, baby.
And we have a very unique way of dancing.
Yes. Well, Chicago's the birthplace of house music. So we have our own, we got our own style of dancing called jacking. We just be jacking the house. Right. Well, Shabba Doo, thank you so much for taking the time to call our show, and we'll try to get this link fixed. We'll do another show, or it'll be the Shabba Doo show. And all right, hon, take care. Thank you so much. Happy 50th to you. Happy 50th anniversary. I said happy 50th anniversary on Soul Train.
Yes. 50 years long. Time to fly.
Yes. All right, take care. Thank you.
Okay,
bye-bye. Ooh, now I can sit my fat ass down, honey. I'm glad it worked out this way. Were you able to hear him, Drew?
Yeah, I got some of it.
Okay.
I
am wore out because I'm glad everybody can see what I go through, because then maybe they'll feel sorry for me and somebody will write me a check for a bigger production.
My own personal feeling, I wish that Don would have kept Soul Train in Chicago, even through syndication. I mean, look at Oprah. When you think about it, all she did, it was all syndication. Okay. GN was probably the biggest station in the market that could have probably, more than likely, done the syndication for it. I mean, I'm sorry.
By the time I started watching Soul Train as a kid, because when I was in love with Michael Jackson, like that was my husband, and I used to, I used to pretend like we were married, and I had a little baby doll, and I watched Soul Train, and I pretend like I was dancing on Soul Train with Michael and the baby. I would make up all these little stories. I thought he was my husband. He's still my husband today. So by the time I saw Soul Train, it was on WGN, and it came on every Saturday morning.
Yeah.
I had no idea, Drew, that Soul Train came on every day, 5 days a week after school.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I didn't know that because I wasn't born yet.
For an hour every day. But, it would have been, because people dance different. I mean, you got Bandstand that was out there at that time, and they started in Philadelphia. Okay, so
yeah.
I mean, it's a whole different. In Chicago, everybody runs out to LA. Now, American Bandstand, I could say, yeah, because that was from Philadelphia. But Chicago has got so much talent, and so many talent people come through.
And if we could just get more organized, we could really do a lot here. It's just a lack of organization. And I don't really like to talk about Oprah. Oprah's kind of broken my heart with what she did to Michael Jackson, and I just don't really like to acknowledge her. But the fact that she became a billionaire in Chicago.
Exactly.
How many people actually go to LA and become a billionaire? She became a billionaire in Chicago. I remember AM Chicago. She was on there with Rob Weller, and I was 12. This was 83. And I'm going to tell you, one of the reasons why she blew up, we were talking about this earlier, was because of Quincy Jones. When Quincy came to Chicago on some business, he was born here, so he was flipping through the channels, and he saw her on AM Chicago, and he picked up the phone and he called Steven Spielberg, and he said, "Steven, I found Sophia for The Color Purple." So she was in that movie, The Color Purple. The only national exposure Oprah had was when she did an episode of All My Children prior to her coming to Chicago, because she was a newscaster in Baltimore, Maryland, I believe, or somewhere on the East Coast. And so then she comes here, she does AM Chicago. Everybody fell in love with her because she was chubby. She was African American. She appealed to people. And so Quincy saw that, and then he decided to call Steven Spielberg, and they cast her as Sophia in The Color Purple. Now, at that time, it was still a local show. After The Color Purple, which in December, it'll be the 35th anniversary, because it came out December of 85. I remember because I went to the movie theater to see it.
Yeah.
And so in that following spring, like I think it was May of 86, the Oprah Winfrey Show went national. And she was here from 86 to 2010. Became a billionaire.
But
you don't have to go to LA or New York. And I wish I had thought that way. I'll be honest with you, Drew. I honestly wish I had thought that when I moved to LA when I was 17. I went to LA to pursue a career in film and TV production, but I moved back home in 99. And between 99 and now, I built something here. I'm very famous here. People know me everywhere. I mean, wearing my house necklace, and I have a bigger one that I wear all the time, but I built something here. And now I'm actually taking my show up to Lansing, Michigan, because I want to be a bigger fish in a little small pond. So I'm trying to be smart about what I'm doing. And with the digital world, you can do a show from anywhere. I mean, I'm at my home near Chicago, but I can be in Australia and do this.
I agree. It's when and I'm not saying, but the studio was dumpy. Okay, I mean, and when I'm talking about bringing,
did you get did you guys have the Kentucky Fried Chicken in the studio in 1970?
Uh, I got a story on that one.
Sharon, tell me the story about KFC. You know, did you know Don Cornelius actually bought, he franchised the KFC so he could feed people.
On Big Bill Hill's show, he had a sponsor called the Chicken Shack.
Okay.
And I think it was in the south part of Chicago there. So one night, all of us on the crew ordered chicken. Okay. They couldn't find the studio.
Oh, they couldn't.
So
find
we
the,
told,
so what
we didn't know where
happened?
the studio was. So we told Bill that night. So the next week,
The delivery people couldn't find you?
no, they couldn't find the studio. So we told Bill, and Bill, the next week, I guess he told them where it was and everything. And they brought a chicken up for us. So everybody ate the chicken, and they put them on Bill's. He had a table that he stood behind, and he goes, did a commercial for them, and see, the crew here likes your chicken. It was, I'll tell you, it was.
How did you get the chicken?
I don't know if the place is still there, but
And how did you guys get the chicken?
they did bring it up. He told them where the studio was located.
Oh, so you guys just did a commercial for them.
Yeah, that was
awesome. Oh, they got some free advertising and you paid for the chicken?
Yeah.
Oh, that's big pimping right there, Drew. That's big pimping right there. Drew, you like my afro? Huh? Look like Soul Train from 1970.
Oh, yeah. I gotta tell you, when I was telling you about the talent, yeah.
I said, you like my afro puffs?
Yes, I think it's so cool.
Well, is this Soul Train 1970?
I have to tell you, when I saw Freda Payne and Linda, I mean, Linda, I still play, and I love that song, that when my friends could see me now, because
if my friends could see
the great
me.
family reunion, it's a great reunion high school song. But what I was trying to get to is that when Chicago,
they're kind of like best friends. That's why I wanted them on the show.
when when we were there in that studio, and I'm not kidding when I say this, because it was really not the greatest place. Okay, the Marty Faye show, the Ken Ehrlich, who is a producer, who now has been producing the Grammy Award.
Yes.
He would bring up people from Chicago on Marty's show. I mean, on one show I had Don Rickles, Mel Torme, and Don Rickles was great.
That's some legendary stuff right there.
He came up there and he says, if I knew he was coming up to a toilet, I would have worn my plumber's outfit.
Oh!
I gave Ken Ehrlich, honest to God, I don't know how he even got these big stars up to this studio, because, I mean,
so they all came up to the Board of Trade on the 42nd floor.
I'm sorry?
They all came up to the Board of Trade on the 42nd floor.
Yes.
Wow.
So Marty had a jazz show on the jazz station there in Chicago. Okay. And I mean, he would have people up there like Ramsey Lewis and just all these really top names, and people that were at the College Room or at Mr. Kelly's at the time, the Happy Medium. He would get all these, I mean, big stars coming up to his studio that was still black and white.
Right. Yeah, because all the first episodes of Soul Train were black and white. So let me ask you a question. Was Soul Train ever taped in color here? I mean, was it ever done in color here in Chicago? Or was always black and white in Chicago?
If they did in the later on, well, you said there was a continuation of Soul Train while Don was doing it.
Right. Yeah.
Then I think it was already in color. There was been a piece. I don't. I saw it on YouTube. It was something. I think it was on YouTube, or maybe it was on that Fuzzy Memories TV about. It was a dance show on CIU. It was in color, but I don't recall it being called Soul Train. So I'm not positive about that. But, and I really don't know, since I moved back to South Bend, I don't know when WCIU TV moved over to Halstead. So whether they were in color, they had to be in color, because I saw some polka party videotape on that Fuzzy Memories TV that was done it looks like the old studio, and it was in color. So I don't know when the transfer from the Board of Trade to the Halstead, but I do know one of the directors that was working with me at that time, Bill Hughes, was still at CIU on Halstead. But a couple of the other guys I know went to WGN, and I stayed in contact with one of them. But outside of that, most people, in South Bend, it's kind of. I used to go to Chicago a lot, but I haven't been back for quite a while.
All right, well, you got to come up here and we got to hang out, and I got to get down there. But Drew, I just want to thank you so much for coming on the show. And tonight I've had so much fun, with Freda and Linda. I want to thank Freda Payne, Linda Clifford, Adolfo, Shabba Doo, Quinones came on the phone to talk to us. Shouts out to Marshall Thompson from the Shy Lights. Also, the family of Curtis Mayfield, who was also shout out to Mavis Staples, who was also in the beginning, The Emotions, who was also on the show. Shout out to Sears for sponsoring Soul Train. Also, when Soul Train went on to Los Angeles, Johnson's Hair Care Products. Mr. Johnson, thank you so much for being a sponsor and investing into Soul Train, which it has become a conglomerate now. Unfortunately, it's been bought by Viacom. So Viacom owns Soul Train now. I don't want to say unfortunately, but what I mean, unfortunately, Don Cornelius' wishes was that Soul Train stayed African American owned. He was very adamant about that. I know that you and I talked about that, Drew, in our pre-interview, that he wanted it to be Black owned. And it was Black owned, switched a few hands, and now it's owned by Viacom, which BET is pretty much in charge of Soul Train now. The episodes are in syndication, and they do have the annual Soul Train Awards. I believe this year it's going to be virtual. And the Soul Train Awards started actually in 1987. They did have the Lady of Soul Award. They no longer do that. So it's gone through some transitions and some changes. And unfortunately, Don Cornelius had a lot of issues with his brain. He had brain tumors and would have seizures, and he pretty much took his own life, and it was very devastating when that incident occurred. But we want to always continue the legacy of what he laid out for the community, and always keep in mind that Soul Train was a show that saved lives. It was about getting the kids off the street into the studio dancing, giving them a platform. It gave so many artists a platform. Go on, Drew.
Don really liked soul music.
Yes.
I mean, he was definitely, you didn't have to sell him on it. He just loved it, period. I don't know And I don't have anything against rap music, but I cannot picture it being a rap train.
A rap train.
I'm sorry.
But you know what's so funny that you said that? It took Don Cornelius a long time to let hip hop and rap music come on the show. He said no, he didn't want it on his show, but it had become so popular that he went on ahead and allowed it to come on. It was a few rap artists on the show. And I want to give a shout out to Shamar Moore because he was the last host of Soul Train in 1993. He hosted the Soul Train because Don, he got to a point where he was just getting ill and he just couldn't do it anymore.
Sorry, he was what?
I said Don Cornelius got to a point he was getting ill with his headaches and things that were going on with his brain, and he just couldn't host the show anymore. And I remember when Shamar Moore took over, and I still, it breaks my heart, Drew, because I still wish Soul Train still came on. I mean, I'm looking at shows like Saturday Night Live. That show's been on. This is their 45th anniversary this season. Saturday Night SNL's been on since 1975. And there, to me, was no reason for Soul Train to go off the air. You just get a new host. And I really hope they bring it back, because if they bring it back, honey, I would love to host Soul Train. Maybe we should start it again here in Chicago at the Board of Trade. Drew, you come direct me now, and I'll be the new host of Soul Train in Chicago.
Just remember, you're going to have to yell at Soul Train.
Yes. Well, Drew, thank you so much for coming on. I so appreciate you for being here. Thank you so much to all my guests. Me and you will stay in touch, Drew. Thank you so much for being here.
No, thank you.
Okay. All right. So listen, before I close out, I want to let you guys know about this fabulous product. It's called Super Chia. You go to superchias.com. It's Super Chia with the S.com. This is an amazing product. It has probiotics, prebiotics, colon detox, reduce acid reflux, support immunity, support good bacteria, complete protein, small and large intestine aid, liver support, soluble and insoluble fiber, promotes regularity, increases nutrient uptake, and support microbiome balance. You can see all of that. We'll put it right there so you can see it. My doctor, Sherlyn Lee, out of Los Angeles, she sells that. It's $49.99 plus shipping, about $8. You should receive it within 5 to 7 business days. It, honey, your stomach will, listen, let me tell you something. My stomach is starting to get flatter and flatter. I've been using this stuff here. So yeah, because I'm going to be 50 soon, honey, and I want to just be fit, 50 and fabulous. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and stay tuned for my next show that I'm going to be doing here in a few weeks. I'm putting it together. We have to all come together when it comes to this whole Facebook situation. People have been losing their Facebook pages. They've been reporting as fake. Some people need fake pages because they're running from domestic violence. And Facebook needs to have more of a platform of understanding and come up with a program that's going to be suitable for everyone in the Facebook community. People are losing their pages. They're sending in the verification. They're going through the verification process. They are sending in their ID and their passport, which me personally, I'm very uncomfortable with that. So we're going to be discussing that on our next show. And I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for watching. And I will see you next episode. Good night.